Hi, Fiora. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, Joe. How about you?
Yeah.
How's your weekend?
It was good. It was filled with lots of nonsense, but the good nonsense, the kind that you're like, yeah, I think I might be over that. You know, the kind that has to do with clubs and shit I'm way too old for anymore. But it was fun. Lots of socializing, which I needed. I've needed it, and it's nice to get back out there. The world is opening back up.
Yes, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah. How'd your weekend go? Tell us about it.
I went through ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
It was 2 nights. It was awesome. It was a really great time. I love being able to communicate like with the community, like having that space to be in a room with people who are on the, a similar path, kind of the same mental wavelength. It's really cool. So I got to connect with a couple people. It was very encouraging for me. And overall, though, the ceremonies itself, it's always a beautiful, life-changing, upgrading experience. That's all I can say. It was perfect. I would say for anyone who's considering doing an ayahuasca ceremony, listen to our episode on plant medicines so that you can hear my tips on how to find, the right fit for you. But definitely always go into it without any expectation.
Yeah.
Just be open, and I think the medicine will always give you what you need. Not necessarily what you expect, not necessarily what you want, but what you need.
I mean, you're kind of opening yourself up there, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's not what you want, it's what you need.
It's what you need.
I need to get what I want.
If that's what you need, that's what you're going to get.
Mother Ayahuasca is gentle in that way.
Yes. Yeah. She can be gentle. You just have to talk to her and let her guide you. But yeah, there's no reason why healing has to be punishment.
Oh.
Never. It never has to be. It doesn't have to hurt. You just go into it with an open mind, open heart, and lots of gratitude.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And the struggle. It doesn't have to be a struggle.
Nope. Yeah, definitely. All right. So what events and stuff do we have coming up, Joe?
I have this weekend, June 12th and 13th, Journey Through the Major Arcana. That's a 2-day workshop, 3 hours each day, but it's early on in the day, so you have the rest of the day to enjoy. And then we have the monthly intuitive development work group on Thursday the 17th at 4:30. And Fiora's going to be hosting that. I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I have a root canal, but I'm going to try. But I'm going to be hopped up on numbing meds, and the last thing I probably want to do is talk, and if I do, I'll probably slur. So
right, your mouth is half leaning,
jaws slack. I have drool. It's dabbing at it.
You might join with the camera off.
Right. Meanwhile, I'm like, use your third eye,
to see me.
But I also launched a one-on-one intuitive development program that I want to mention. It's a cool program. You get 6 sessions, 2 hours each with me. And then I also provide you an 8-course library, or an 8-workshop library of video courses of some other really cool complementary topics. So you're going to learn about 14 topics all together. And actually more than 14, because each individual session covers about anywhere from 1 to 3 topics. So you're going to learn a lot in this 6-week program. Plus you get entry into Fiora's intuitive development work group, and they all come with workbooks and videos. We do a meditation prior to each session and lots of tips and resources, book recommendations, article, website, all that good stuff. So go to thewokakashic.com, click on the intuitive development tab, and you will get all of the details. I also take payments. So if you choose a session, I have like 6 sessions coming up, I believe. Maybe not 6, I think. I booked them through the end of the year. So let's just say there's 4. If you pick a session that starts in October or November, you have all that time to make payments. So I will work with you on payments.
Very cool. That's a lot of information.
So much. And it's one-on-one.
Cool.
Like, it's one-on-one. And, you get an Akashic reading in there. That's like a $250 value. And then if I feel that you are ready, I will teach you how to open the Akasha, which honestly, you guys, if you plan on developing your intuitive abilities and then you want to take those out to be an intuitive reader yourself, as Fiora can attest, once you learn how to open that Akashic record, your shit takes off. Your abilities just compound, and it's really very, very valuable.
Yes. Yeah. I love going to my Akashic record. So yes. Okay, guys. Well, before we get started on today's topic, we just want to remind you that we are still looking for your feedback. We do want to know what you love about the podcast and what would you like to hear more of. We want your mystical and metaphysical, spiritual, paranormal questions. All of that, you can either leave us a review on Apple Podcast or join our Facebook group to give us your input. But we do want to talk to you, so let us know if you have something to share with us, share with the world. Again, you can submit your feedback also through esotericspodcast@gmail.com.
When are we going to draw a name for the giveaway?
We will do it this week, actually.
Okay. Excellent. And then we can name somebody and they could possibly use it to enroll in the 2-day class or any future event that they want.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, cool. Hey, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about the truth about twin flames.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, lately there's been so much, like, this has been such a hot topic in, like, the spiritual community and woo community. So, Joe and I talk about twin flames all the time, and it's just one of those things where we just want to set the record straight on, like, what does it mean, and, I don't know if you found yours, and do you even want to find yours? I mean, we'll let you be the judge after we kind of break it all down for you.
Yeah. What she said.
So first things first, what is a twin flame, Joe?
Okay, listen, here's the deal. A twin flame, well, society, pop culture, fairy tales, they all tell us that a soulmate is the perfect romantic partner. Okay, but as we talked about in episode 9, when we went into soulmates and soul families and all of that, soulmate partners can also be in other areas of your life, and they aren't only romantic in nature. Twin flames are a type of soulmate, but there's a twist to them. A twin flame is a soulmate connection that starts with sharing the same higher self. That's what a twin flame is. And it's also, you also might hear or see people refer to it as an oversoul, which I think is really a very creepy name. I don't want my oversoul making decisions. That's which sounds like an overseer or an overlord or
yes.
It ain't gonna
That's what I was gonna say. It sounds too close to the word overlord, and I don't like that.
Right, yeah. So that's what a twin flame is, and that's what the number one thing that I wanted to clarify. It's not it's you have the same higher self, so you're not two souls that are split.
Okay. From my understanding, I thought that it was two souls that came from the same energy, which is, I guess, another way to say exactly what you're saying, right? Yeah.
They're individual souls with individual life paths, individual purposes. They just have the same higher self.
Okay. All right. I like that. That's a pretty
too.
simple,
Isn't
straightforward.
It beautiful?
Yeah, it's straightforward.
So then it makes you go, well, why is there so much fuckery and nonsense in a twin flame relationship? Oh, we're going to figure that out. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So signs that you may have met your twin flame. So before I say this, I would just want to preface this with saying that not everybody has a twin flame that has incarnated with them on Earth. It's likely that not everybody has a twin flame, period. It's just it doesn't necessarily need to happen for everyone. It's one of those things that it's not necessary for everyone.
Yet sometimes the twin flames will incarnate together, but other times you're a twin flame, because you're so complementary, like two sides of the coin, they'll stay on the other side and guide you too.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they could just be in another dimension. Maybe they incarnated in a different dimension.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You never know. Okay. So signs that you've met your twin flame. So first thing is there's like an instant recognition. This like, I know you, but I know I've never met you, but I know you. And also an intense attraction. So it's usually, it's just an instant thing. Like you have an instant bond, and it almost seems like all pieces of your life just kind of come together in that moment. So that's the first sign. And then there's also just synchronicities. You have a high level of synchronicities with this person. As you get to know each other, you'll find that you have a lot of like the same shared moral compass. You have a lot of matching interests. But more importantly, you have a lot of like coincidences that kind of overlap. Like, for example, I've heard of this. I saw this picture once of this woman, but it was a picture when she was a little girl. And she was at a lake. And so she's standing in front of the lake, and somewhere behind, in the background of the picture, were her husband's parents. So like they were there on the same day, but she did not meet her husband until she was an adult. So it was just one of these really bizarre synchronicities of like, we were both in this place at the same time. Like we could have met then, but it just didn't. But there's a lot that the synchronicities are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then intense emotions. Sometimes when you meet your twin flame, you'll find that your just emotions are very amplified. Everything you feel, both good and bad, is going to feel stronger and sometimes even overwhelming. The other thing is amplified insecurities and doubts. So just as your emotions are amplified, so are your insecurities, your fears, and your doubts. But I need to straighten this out and saying it's not that this person is like pointing out your insecurities or triggering your fears, because that's a toxic relationship, which we'll talk about separately. It's more like this person is a mirror. So it's allowing you to take a moment and reflect and look at the things that are holding you back, like your fears and your insecurities. The point being so that you can work through them and grow and come out stronger on the other side. But it's not like that asshole boyfriend that tells you that you know, that dress doesn't fit or whatever. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. It's almost like something about being around this person is like, oh my God, like I need to get my shit together. Like, but it's not in an insecure way where like the person is making you feel insecure. It's just kind of like, for some reason now I'm just feeling this way.
Right. Twin flame relationships are purely a path of enlightenment. That's why they exist. And as most of you know, those relationships, those paths can be very deconstructive, deeply deconstructive. It's a process where you shed your beliefs, you heal emotions, anything that doesn't serve you in a positive way. And so with a twin flame relationship, the task isn't to seek perfect love, although that's what happens when you are both in alignment. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But it is more about to see all of the barriers within yourself, all of the required healing within yourself that needs to be shed or healed or broken down, what you've built up against that love. So yeah, definitely. People think it's this wonderful thing, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't want to meet that person.
The other thing is you do feel very drawn to this person, like a magnet. From the moment you meet, you just feel like inexplicably drawn to them. And that feeling just never goes away. And although the attraction can be sexual, obviously, because a lot of times these are polar opposites in like divine feminine or divine masculine. So there can be that sexual attraction. It's more often that you just desire to be in their presence. Like you just want to be around them. It's not so much as much sexual. It can be both, but it's that like you need to be around them. And you're inspired to be a better person, which for me, I feel like this is the most important part, because if it's someone that's like, again, if they're like triggering you in a toxic way, that's not a twin flame. But if this person, like you just want to be around, like want to be around them and want to be a better person because of them, I think that that's a much stronger indicator of a twin flame relationship. It's like they're awakening your untapped potential and igniting that fire inside you to just do better, to be better, opening up a world of possibilities that you haven't dreamed of. It's the journey that demands spiritual growth is what a twin flame really comes down to. It's impossible to get there though without getting past your fears and whatever else is holding you back, because twin flame love is incredibly powerful, but it serves a distinct purpose. It's elevating you to be a better version of yourself. So for example, like I had a client who, when she met her twin flame, she was like, I need to have my chakras aligned. She's like, I don't know shit about chakras, but I just know I have to go do this thing.
I don't know why, but I just know.
Yeah, I just know, like, she just knew that she was like out of alignment. And it's, there's also this thing, and I just happen to know this, but that when you and your twin flame come into physical union, it can trigger a kundalini awakening, which is like the instant like lighting up of all your chakras at once, which that kind of sounds pretty cool.
I know. Have you ever had a kundalini experience?
Yeah, like in meditation, sometimes I just feel it. Like I just feel like my crown, just everything just lines up. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if I have. I think I put it out there that I want to, and I want to consciously have it, but I don't know. I'm not like, oh, that was kundalini. Yeah.
A lot of people say though that when you do it consistently, that's when you can start to astral project. Is what the kundalini awakening. Okay. Last thing about meeting your twin flame. With this person, you can always be yourself. Like there's like, you can shed all the masks, you can put all the things away. Like there is no need to hide who you are with this person, because you're not going to feel like that anxiety that you might normally feel when you meet new people or a new love interest, where you feel like you kind of have to put on a show or like have to like act a certain way. All that stuff is just shed. Like it's just not, because it's like you've finally come home to like that. I think it comes down to like that sharing of the higher self. It's like this person innately knows who you are, like on this higher level, so there's no need to lie to them or to pretend to be anything you're not. And it's just a very soothing feeling when you've met them in that moment, and then you feel that way, and you just generally feel like you want to stay by their side forever. However, that doesn't always happen, and we'll get into that runner and chaser thing in a bit.
So all of those points that you just made, I mean, they even further solidify the fact that I do have a twin flame, and it's an interesting everything that you just said. It's the case with that. Yeah. But there is no way in hell that I would ever pursue anything with them. We're just not on the same track. We're not aligned at all. And I've seen, all of the things that are required from a twin flame relationship. I've seen, what my expression is, what it is within me that needs to be healed and worked on, and all of those things. But I'm really at peace with it too. And I wish them well, but yeah, it's very interesting to look at and go, yep, check. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times I've found that a lot of times you do end up meeting your twin flame around the time of your Saturn return. And I don't think that's a coincidence, because your Saturn return is usually part of like a spiritual awakening thing that happens in your life, where like if things are out of alignment, if you're not on the right path of aligned to your soul blueprint, aligned to your life path, things are going to shift. You're going to have a tower moment. Things are going to end, break apart, because you need to be, you need to get somewhere else, to be somewhere else. So same thing sometimes happens with a twin flame, with that spiritual awakening that is like activated by meeting the twin flame. It gets you on that healing path.
Yes, absolutely. And a soulmate can do that too. Don't think that, you've met this person and they actually were a catalyst for your healing. And so they're your twin flame. Like, that's a soulmate also can do that. So just stay open to it. I think we know. You just know at the deepest levels who your twin flame is. You just know. I mean, you share the same higher self. Of course you're going to know. But here's my question for you, Fiora. So, a lot of everything I've heard or read is like, two souls, right? One male, one female. And that's for the purpose of duality. But I don't believe that, because you can't tell me that there aren't, gay men and women or, LGBTQ, whatever, that don't have a same sex or same gender or whatever, right? Twin flame. So I think that's a little bit of an antiquated ideology that it's a man and a woman. I mean, that just doesn't fit anymore.
Right. Well, okay. I will say though that I feel like the idea of the feminine and masculine energies, they're just
they
energies.
don't have gender.
And they don't have a gender.
Right.
No, they don't have a gender, because I know plenty of women that definitely have more of that masculine energy, and vice versa. Or there are some men where I'm like, oh, like you're more of the feminine in the relationship, and she's more. I've seen that before.
Yes.
Okay, and just briefly touching on this, I have a theory that I think is pretty. And I hope that nobody finds this offensive, but I think that with people who are like non-binary or like, just non-gendered, I actually think that they are like the perfect balance of both a feminine and a masculine energy, that they don't necessarily identify with one over the other, because they like fully embody both. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. Like,
it is a beautiful thing. That's a great theory.
That's just my own personal theory, and I hope that nobody finds that like offensive.
I mean, honestly, if you're offended by that, like, go and take a dump, because you need to.
Because it's not. I mean, I don't mean that in any kind of negative or labeling way. I just think it's a beautiful balance thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We support beautiful things here at the Esoterics podcast, and so we're going to talk about beautiful things. I think all of our listeners will think that that's a lovely, wonderful, calming, beautiful theory. Yeah. Okay, so listen. Twin flames are romanticized, like, to the point of where, when two twin flames that are on the same spiritual path, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, when those two twin flames come together, it is absolutely bliss. And here's the thing, the twin flame relationship, it can be heaven on earth, absolute bliss, or it can be total and complete chaos. Absolute chaos. And I would not wish a twin flame relationship, a chaotic twin flame relationship, on my worst enemy. If both souls are aligned on the same path. I sort of liken it to that unaligned twin flame relationship, to the little baby with a little curl nursery rhyme, right? There was a little girl who had a little curl, whatever. Because when it's good, it's really, really, really good. But when it's bad, it's an asshole relationship. It's two assholes having a relationship. And I don't want that. Who wants that? I don't want that.
No.
Yeah. So, but there's a reason it's so hard, They're not an ideal mate for a long-term relationship, unless both much of the inner work has been done, or it is consciously has been done by both partners, or it's consciously being attended to while together. So, yeah.
All right. So there's also, with this romanticization thing, there's also a false twin flame. So these are more like a person that you have a contract with, kind of like that. But the point of them is to help you learn a particular lesson or grow in a certain way. But a lot of times it's more of like they're helping you get rid of emotional wounds from previous relationships or helping you clear your karma. However, that sounds good, but the process in which that happens sometimes can be really, really difficult because
Yeah.
because a lot of times in order for you to clear the emotional wounds, it's almost like the wound has to be reopened.
Yep.
Right. And so it's like when something gets infected, right? You gotta like squeeze the stuff out and it's really gross and nasty and it hurts. Like it's not a pretty thing.
That's gross. I'm seeing pus.
I'm sorry.
Not doing that.
So there are several signs for to identify a false twin flame. So the first sign of a false twin flame is ongoing uncertainty and doubt. So you've met this person, but you just have this general feeling of doubt around them. You're not sure if this relationship's going to last or if they're like the right partner for you. And then when things get difficult, they just leave. They're like, a lot of times that false twin flame is like, they won't actively like do the work with you. So like, especially with like an argument or a stressful situation, they're just like, I'm out and that's it. Like that's not a twin flame. So that's again with that is like they can't commit or they'll avoid settling down. Commitment scares the false twin because they're not truly your twin flame. They're going to be scared or avoidant of committing to you in any way. They'll cause you to self-destruct, like, because there's a big difference between becoming a better person and actually someone that triggers you to like be self-destructive. So like that, the feelings of feeling like you're not enough or them making you feel like you're not doing enough or being enough, that can cause like your confidence to like, decline. That's definitely a false twin flame. Your true twin flame wouldn't cause that kind of heaviness within you. They'll be threatened by your success. So that one's pretty obvious because if you share a higher self with someone, that means that in some capacity your success is their success as well.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why that person should be threatened by your successes.
They should lift you up. They should want to lift you up and support you and encourage you.
So if this person like hears your success and they feel like they act indifferent or they're not like very excited for it, that's not your twin flame.
No.
Most importantly, again, like the flip side to the actual twin flame, with the false twin flame, you can't be yourself around each other. You feel like you're being judged or that it's not appropriate to be yourself. And that's a pretty strong indicator of that's definitely not your twin flame.
Excellent. So all of those sort of tie into the whole runner. So what about the runner and the chaser?
The runner and the chaser, okay. With the runner and the chaser, from my understanding, what I've come to learn from this is that when the twins encounter each other and one is not, when they're not on the same level, when they haven't done their healing work, that usually makes one run and the other one chase after them.
Right. So one twin flame runs from the situation to cope, right? That's their coping mechanism, like you listed in the false flame, but then the other chases right behind. So the other one's always right behind, right? So then it's because it's typically, when two twin flames come together, it's typically paired with this sort of massive, if it's not a spiritual awakening, it's an increased level of self-awareness. And people don't like to be self-aware because then they have to look at all of the things in their life that create disappointment, dissatisfaction, all of those things. So, when we talk about these twin flames that are scared, what they're fearful of is change, healing, all the things that this person is showing them, mirroring them, like you spoke about earlier, and then like, have you heard of the rubber band theory? Like when we were younger, when we would break up with a boy or a boy would break up with us, or, we would fight, it'd be like, well, just don't talk to him for like 3 days because eventually he'll come back like a rubber band.
Oh no, I've heard the other way around, that when you're going through that kind of heartbreak, like when you're like a teenager, that if 3 days go by and you still and you stop thinking or you stop feeling it, then that means that it wasn't anything.
Well, I mean, that's the smart, right? That's the smart theory, because this is just bullshit games, playing games. Because, here I am, many, many years later. Why don't you just address the situation, right? When you're a teen, it's like, I'm not going to talk to him.
Yeah, I'm just going to ignore him.
Right. Pretend like he doesn't matter. And then I'm going to go talk to other boys. But
yeah.
All right. Now, we're not making light of teens. If there's any teens out there, life sucks for you. We know that. We feel it. Life is the worst when you're a teen. I freaking hated being a teenager.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts.
Everything is an extreme. Everything's an extreme. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I'm not trying to boomer you at all. So I accept your stress, your struggle, teens. The point is that, that's what the runner chaser is like. As soon as you pull away, then the roles switch, and then the chaser becomes the runner. Just it's nonsense. It is nonsense. Honestly, I think twin flames are a load, because not a load of crap, because I believe in one. I have one, but what a terrible. I'd rather do my spiritual awakening in other ways, with other relationships. I'm not on board.
I'm just going to interject with my personal opinion on the runner chaser thing. I think that if they're both on their own individual healing paths and they have maybe come to a certain acceptance that they're not going to come into union into this lifetime, that they may not really participate in the runner chaser.
Yeah.
That's just just my personal opinion.
Every relationship. Yeah. This is, the dynamics would exist because based on trauma, based on, their emotional maturity, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So let's talk about some myths. I found some really cool myths.
Okay.
So myth number 1, your twin flame, when you meet, it's guaranteed to work. And if it fails, then it's a false twin. All right. And that's a myth. Twin flames are difficult relationships to navigate. We have shown that here. And we already have these sort of extreme dualities, right? One tends to be negative and the other really positive. You talked about that. But, add the fuel. And this is huge fuel to any fire, that huge karmic debt that needs to be balanced. I mean, karma is sort of the foundation of all experience. So from an energy point of view, it just sort of helps create that shift faster, but that can be very uncomfortable. That can mean that the already difficult bond is, now going to be even more difficult to navigate. So it's not guaranteed to work.
Yeah.
It's just not. And it's not necessarily a false twin. It's just very difficult. Myth 2 is that they're going to run smoothly from the moment you meet. Opposite. They're not going to be smooth unless you are the very, very, very rare and fortunate twin flame where you meet on the same spiritual aligned path. And then it is what we call bliss.
I've actually seen that. Yeah. I've seen that with a friend. I saw her, how when her and her husband met, they were both on very similar healing paths, but very different life circumstances.
Yeah.
However, because they were on that same healing path, they were able to stay together. They stayed together and they grow together. And it's a really cute thing to watch them, like how they're so similar to each other. It's like they do the same thing, but in their own individual way. And because they're both constantly working on their healing, they're almost like children with each other. Like they just play, and like they can be absolutely completely be themselves.
What's their age?
Probably like early 40s.
Okay, so they're still, I mean, it's not like they're like, in their 80s and 90s. They're like still young and they get to,
yes.
Yeah, I want to have that.
Yeah, it's really, really sweet to watch. It's very sweet to watch. And then the fact that they also like help other people with their own spiritual journeys, which means that like they've come into union in this lifetime for their purpose, like of helping others in the way that they've already helped themselves. It's really cool.
I just love that because that's when the twin flame bond forces you to work as a team, right? You're a team, but you're doing so with that individuality, you know, that inexplicable pull, so I think that we all want that. Here's one that you'll instantly recognize, your twin flame. And I'm sure that people do. I think that's similar with soulmates, right? You're just like, I know you, something about you, I know you. All the stories that we have about that. But twin flames can experience disinterest at first, as well as both instantly falling in love. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not necessarily, going to be this, where you see like in movies where, the focus zeroes in and your world shifts and all else falls away as you lock eyes with this, person. It's like, no, you could look at somebody and be like, yeah. no.
Okay, so I've heard something that I don't know if I necessarily agree with, but actually with the couple that I'm thinking, this theory jives. That a lot of times when the twin flame dynamic, that you're from different cultures. So I think that kind of would coincide with not always necessarily like feeling like that instant recognition or that instant attraction, because they're so different from maybe what you feel like is like what you normally are attracted to, because they are very different physically from you. So I don't know, I've heard that, and I've also heard about the age discrepancy too, that sometimes there's like an age gap. I personally I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I just think that that's just the dynamics of
that's just
human
your soul
relationships,
path, your soul blueprint, what you've chosen to experience.
I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with the twin flame.
I don't either. And I don't mean to sound like a cynic or anything. I just think that there's so much nonsense out there about what a twin flame is. Like I said, whenever I think about it, it's because I share the same higher self with my twin flame. That's it. And because I have the ability of telepathy, I'm constantly locked in on them. And like, I've had to do cord removals all the time. Like, go away. You do your thing. Go away. Yeah, I'm doing mine. It's just not going to work. So there is I found this crystal, and it's called the twin crystal. It's also known as the soulmate quartz. Here's the cool thing about it. And the reason I came across this because, I was looking for, a stone for one of my clients, but you can't, unless this is something that's the act of creating cabochons or stones to be used in jewelry is called lapidary, and it's one of my bucket list items that I want to learn eventually. I know silversmithing, so to be able to go find raw rocks and gems and turn them into stunning, gemstones that are able to be set, that's something that I hope I can do later on in life. Anyway, so I was looking for a quartz for two people and their soulmates, and so I came across soulmate quartz. All right, so here's how you figure out what those are. They look like two crystals that appear to be attached to each other at the base.
Oh.
Yeah. So they could be V-shaped, or honestly, a lot of them, because they're quartz crystals, they look like little baby penises, right? Penis and balls. And I'm like, I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to make jewelry out of the penis and ball crystal.
Wait, so like, I think I have one kind of.
Yes, hello. That's a penis and ball crystal. That is the soulmate quartz. I want you guys. Okay, so Fiora will take a picture of
I'm going to post it on
crystal.
our Instagram.
Yes, okay, because that's what it is. Now, here's the cool thing, but I love the metaphysical properties of these crystals. They bring a soothing, calming energy when you hold them. They enhance your imagination and creativity, like that. Because the way it's shaped too, I would use that. I would hold on to that during readings, because it just helps everything flow. They're great for the twin flame moments, and that's why it's called the soulmate quartz. When you're experiencing conflicting emotions, it really sort of helps you ground and harmonize those energies, because okay, what do you got, another one?
No, it's the same one.
Oh.
I actually, but I have, I think I have more than one, actually.
And if I think you like phallic crystals is what's going on. Like, how many of those does she have?
I have a boatload of towers, I do. Don't judge me, okay?
I don't. I'm a little bit jealous, a little envious. Like, why don't I have more phallic crystals? So my friend Curtis, he loves those type of crystals and likes the kind that are actually carved into the shape of actual penises. And
I've seen those.
I'm like, what is the actual point of that? And then I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to know. People, I tell my clients, don't put crystals in your bras, like get a little sack or whatever, but definitely don't put them in your vagina. No.
Wait, so you don't agree with yoni eggs?
You know what? There's one thing that goes up there, and that's a penis. A male, no, I shouldn't say a male piece, but whatever. I'm a heterosexual female, so this is the way that I'm explaining this.
This is in your personal...
In my personal... A male penis goes in the vagina. That's it. Nothing else. Similar to the anus. The anus is exit only. Okay, look, this is where Joanna stands on all of this stuff.
In case you didn't know, you maybe don't have your children listening for this part.
This is rated dumb. This episode, rated dumb. Dumb talk. We're going to bring it all out to the table, guys. We really are. Okay. Honestly, I think we've covered pretty much every aspect of twin flame so that you guys now know what it is and you can stop romanticizing it. But if you have a twin flame and it's good, please share it with us and please enjoy the bliss and the beauty that it brings into your life.
Yeah. And if you're not, then, just know you're on a path and it was just, sometimes it's just a little push in the right direction. So.
Just a little push. Okay, so we have a new segment. We haven't really decided what we're going to call it, but we're calling it the closing vibe for now.
Yeah.
Fiora and I are both channels, and we sometimes just get the drop on some seriously profound messages from spirit. So this is sort of our space, the closing vibe, where each of us get to express ourselves any way we want. We get to talk about any topic we want, and just share with you the universal secrets to life. Really, not really. Just shit we want to share at the time, right? That's
yeah.
I think we should just call it shit we want to talk about.
Today's shit. All right. All right. So I asked for just some information about our topic today about twin flames. And so this is what I got. We are seeing an influx of twin flames on Earth because they are an indication of global ascension. The soul's purpose is to love and learn through experience here on Earth. Your individual experiences are the focus and goal. Sorry, my writing is when I channel, I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
so
it's hard.
It takes me a moment. Physical union is not required of you in the earth realm, and it is not the ultimate goal here. Your union takes place in higher dimensions when two souls unite to join their love, and learning together furthers the greater good. If you encounter your twin flame on Earth, it is likely that you or one of you will not be ready because you have more to learn outside of the union. When two souls gather on Earth, it is because their energies match and they can create on a grander scale. They can be teachers of others, working for the ascension of human souls as a whole. A twin flame is more of a barometer of your current vibration. You are likely to learn much more from a soul partner connection in this lifetime.
That is beautiful. How does it feel to get it? Tell them, do you have any physical sensations when you're in channel or when it comes upon you? Tell everybody how that feels.
It just feels like it's you, but it's not you.
Yeah.
Because it's, because it is from your higher self, unless you're requesting a certain angel or an ascended master or spirit. But in this case, I just asked my higher self to come through, and it's just interesting. It feels like you're just kind of observing someone else's thoughts.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the channel. So a channel is thoughts that just come through you. They just appear in your head, in your mouth, and, if you're all of that. When you're a medium, those thoughts actually appear in your ear or your brain, and you actually have time to hear what comes in and process it, and then translate that out for your client or for the person that you're, communicating for. But with a channel, it just comes out, and oftentimes it's hard to remember. So you always have to either write it down or type it. I like to speak it into my phone, and record it, because I'm like, I have no idea what I just said afterwards. Yeah. It's channeling is cool. It's, literally one of my favorite intuitive abilities is the ability to channel, because like I said, the knowledge that drops is just so profound. It's like, what? That came out of me?
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
I mean, if you want it to be me.
Yeah, right. Well, and Spirit always says to me, of course it's you. It's coming through you. You're the one that's hearing it and receiving it. And, that is you. So who says it's not you? You say it's not you. And I'm like, oh, you got a point, Spirit. Thank you. I'll take it.
Sure. Yes.
All right. What do I want to share today? I think what I want to talk about today is the fear of getting started, because right now so many of my clients are booking with me because they're like, I don't know where I'm headed. I know I'm supposed to make a shift. I know I'm supposed to do something. I'm feeling like there's something else. I'm feeling stuck and unsatisfied. And so, and then I'm like, okay, well, you need to do this, 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 and this. And then there's amazing thing, that I see in the Akasha for them, business or opportunity or whatever. And they're like, oh, I can't do that. Like, oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, what I want to share today is the point you have to start someplace. Dragging your feet isn't going to get you one single step closer to the place that you want to be, but a single step will. One step will take you that much closer. And so I have a channel about that Spirit, basically, they said that here it is. We will help you with love and assistance always. Please do not be afraid of what the outcome will be of the life you are unfamiliar with living. Have not the manifestations thus far been spectacular? Yes, they have, by the way. Have you not felt amazed at what appears as a result of the healing of your mind? You have healed much, and now is the time to move into the next phase of your life. This is your new journey, your new life, and your new identity. And you will see yourself as the self-actualized soul you are meant to be. You've done everything you've set out to do, and you're moving toward another aspect of this existence. Do you know you included much treasure and success in your path forward? And I think they're referring to when you write your own soul blueprint. And then they ask, what makes you uncomfortable? Or they say, what makes you uncomfortable must be addressed and healed and released. What good makes you feel anxious? Right? So a lot of people are afraid of success, right? Oh, this good is in my life, and it causes people to feel anxiety. And then what old thoughts do you want to avoid? And so basically, just to sum that all up, basically what they're saying is we have to learn to break free from karma that we collected in a past life. Because we're being given the opportunity to balance it in this life. We have to break free from karma that we collected in this life, and karma that we are taking into the next life. And hopefully we can balance all of that out. It's sort of that endless wheel of that karma hopping. But so the last thing is, this thought that came to me was, wake up, beauty. It's time to beast. And that's what I call my intuitive development program. Is the Wake Up Beauty, It's Time to Beast program. So
very cool.
Yes, I thought that was cool too.
Well, that's actually perfect, because it leads into what we're going to talk about next week.
Ooh.
Because next week we are talking about spiritual awakenings.
Oh, excellent. Like just in general?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, well, we'll break it down, but we're talking about spiritual awakening and now what? Like, what happens now? So stay tuned for that.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing space with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and ready to do it again next week. You can find us on all the socials under Esoteric Podcast, and be sure to join our Facebook group, The Woke Akashic, and then you'll hear firsthand about everything in there. Plus, we just have a lot of fun, and people ask fun questions, and they post fun things, and it's just a really cool place to explore your spirituality and have a good group of people to do that with around.
Yes, hope to see you there.
Yeah.
All right,
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.